Hola amigos, this is Level 12, and today I haven't done a non-scripted video like this in what feels like forever. And this is not the first video I wanted to come back with that wasn't non-scripted, but what can I say? I had a very weird editing commission, and I say commission, I'm not even technically getting paid for it. It was for a romance visual novel. I wasn't given that context before I got the commission, by the way. I just knew it was going to be a visual novel. Nor did I know it was going to include things like vomit, gore, and a lot worse. So this is just a trigger warning. If you have a fear of vomiting, I forget what that fear is called, don't watch this. If you don't want your day ruined, don't watch this. It's just don't. This is very strange, very weird. I wish it wasn't like this. I wish I had some eye bleach, but whatever, let's get into it. So just for like context, I used past tense this website called Limasoft Forums where I would commission out my services for writing and proofreading. I only ever completed jobs for proofreading. I did actually complete one full game known as Life in Helsinki, but this is my actual ad on Limasoft. I haven't touched it for 2 years. Quite honestly, I forgot I even had it. I forgot that I even put my Discord correctly, which I've blocked out my email on my Discord. I have my email in various places on this channel, but just for the sake of this video, I don't want it on here. So for those of you that don't know, Limasoft Forums is connected to the Renpei visual novel engine, which is obviously used to make visual novels. Then on Limasoft, you can... I mostly used it to find writing jobs and to, again, hire myself out. But I've also seen discussion threads on anime, on different visual novels. There's a lot of things you can do on the Limasoft Forums. And there's about 3 levels you can hire your services out. You can do it completely free. You can do it as a commercial project, meaning you're not paid unless the game makes money. And then there's paid work where you are paid for the work that you do, whether the project is sold or not. I haven't been contacted for this thing in years. The last project I did that I signed up for was Life in Helsinki, and then I was contacted for another project to do, but I ended up quitting that project. I don't even remember what it was called, because the person was just, they kept on changing the story on me, and I got annoyed with it. So I kind of forgot I had this up here. By the way, I do have a Fiverr, so if you want to actually pay me for my writing services, check out my Fiverr. I'll link it below. So I kind of forgot I had this up. Not forgot per se, but it's not at the forefront of my mind because, again, I updated it 2 years ago. And so I got a notification on Discord about last week that someone wanted to friend me. If you know how Discord works, you have to have a very specific username and then 4 very specific numbers. And I was like, oh, someone wants to friend me. And I do have hobbies in my spare time where it's not unheard of for me to get a random Discord friend request. And I am in a couple Discord or I was in a couple Discord group chats, Discord groups, I guess, and so I thought nothing of it when I got a friend request from a random person, so I just accepted it, and their icon was Mikan from Danganronpa, so we're just going to be calling her Mikan. So basically, she friend requested me, and she was she's basically hey, you still doing it for free? And I'm like, yes, except for on these days because I have class. And she's like, cool. And then she explains it's a commercial project, but she'll be doing rev share if anyone buys this game. And then the only thing I ask about it is, is the script complete? When she says, yes, it's 100% complete. That's all the game is. And listen, usually, again, this isn't my first rodeo. I've edited for plenty of games. And usually the person gives me a short little, synopsis of what the game is. Maybe, and for some reason she didn't give me that, and I guess maybe, I don't think at the time I thought it was weird, which is kind of strange because I guess I should have thought it was weird. I don't know. I really wish I had asked more questions before I 100% agreed to do this. But she didn't tell me anything about the game. And then she's like, can you proofread for some mini games? And I was like, sure, I can do that as well. I have nothing to do, really, to be quite honest. And then she sends me the file. And let me just tell you, usually people send me files via Google Docs. I have only ever received things via Google Docs. I have never received it via even a Word document. She, which this should have been my first red flag, I guess, sent it to me in a .text file. Now, if you don't know what a .text file is, on PCs, or Windows at least, when you type in Notepad, you get Notepad, which, if you change the file to a .html file, lets you code, which is what I use what I use them for. I use it to, code in HTML. I've never received it in a .text file, and I opened it, and it looked horrible because you're not supposed to write stories in .text files. Even fanfiction.net tells you not to do that, though they do accept .text files. And I was like, hey, how do you want me to edit it? And she's like, just put it in a different file and edit it there. And I'm like, okay, usually most people like to see how you edit your files, but whatever. And I read the first, couple lines just to see what I was dealing with, and let me tell you, just in general, this was a lot more to edit than I thought it would be. Not because it was long, it was only, when I put it in the Google Doc, it was only 69 pages, and only a couple thousand words. I had edited more and I had written more in my life, so that wasn't the problem. The big problem was this person had horrible grammar, and not even like they were an English second language. I don't know if they're English second language learner, but I've edited for people where English wasn't their first language. Life in Helsinki, I think, was made by a guy in Prague and another guy in Montreal, so neither of them were English first language. But this person was just lazy, to be quite honest with you. They wouldn't capitalize I's. There was the entire second half of this document did not have I capitalized whatsoever, and so I had to do all of that manually. There were a couple words misspelled, but they were long words like hyperventilation or reenact or separated words I misspell occasionally. So none of that bothered me. It was the complete lack of effort, so to say. And I know if you're writing quickly, you're gonna make some mistakes. Everyone does, but these were just lazy, and that kind of bothered me, but that's a whole other issue. So that's the general idea of what I was working with. And again, I read the first page and I was like, all right, this isn't going to be too bad. Just seems like a dating simmer. That's usually what visual novels are. That's usually what I think my commissions are going to be, are dating sims. And so I was like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And so I'm like, all right, let's edit this bad boy. And so the first page is fine, some spelling mistakes, some continuity errors, which I fix. And then the second page starts out with some nihilism, and I'm like, okay, wasn't expecting that this early in the morning, but okay, we get some nihilism. And then the first strange thing happens, which is, he mentions an ex-girlfriend that he sees waiting for his train or whatever, and then he just casually mentions he pushed his ex-girlfriend's sister into the train tracks. And I texted that to my friends, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. Let me just tell you, this was the second page. Again, she gave me no warning for this game. I just assumed it was a romance dating sim kind of thing. I mean, I think that's part of what it was supposed to be. We get introduced to the main characters, who I'll just be calling TK and MA. And the main character on page 8 states that he's jealous of them after his failure of a date that night, because he went on a date. On page 9, who I'm going to be calling Umineko, because that's what her name looks like, it means seagull, he turns on the news and he finds out she got arrested for attempted murder with a bunch of torture devices. And I was like, this kind of came out of left field for me. I was very confused. And then on page 10, we find out he was abused by his mother because he has some PTSD flashback. And then he enters what had been referenced earlier as a pleasure room, and I'm thinking 50 Shades of Grey pleasure room. That's not what it was. It's full of papers and stuff. And then on page 21, we find out that TK and MA were bullied in school, and then the bullies die in a tragic death. They find the bodies years later. It's all very gruesome. And then on page 22, it's revealed that all of that was a lie. None of that happened, because TK and MA are siblings, and they're in an incestuous relationship. And I was like, whoa. I was pumping the brakes on that. And I don't think I told that to my friends. I just said it got very weird and very fetishy. And I was like, okay, little strange. I'm not really into that. I've watched anime with incest as part of the plot. I forget what it was called. I'll put it on screen, but I watched it, and it's based off a visual novel, and it went down different routes, and one of the routes was incestuous, and I was like, oh, okay, that's weird and strange. And listen, I've read things like Killing Stalking. I've read Emergent/Metamorphosis. I've watched weird movies and stuff. So, like, it's not like I was, like, afraid of it. It's not like I was like, wow, my innocent eyes. Because, again, I said I would do horror, thriller, hentai, eroge. I just didn't think this game was going to involve all of it, first of all, in any event. So on page 27, TK eventually captures our main character, and it reveals that he brought the main character to his grandpa's maze, and he then chops his finger off, makes the main character eat it, and then the main character vomits. And then, this is where it got weird and fetishy. MA licks up the vomit with her tongue, and it gets kind of graphic, and I don't remember when exactly I looked up her Discord name on Limasoft, which, by the way, probably should have done that to begin with. But I at some point around this page 28, where this vomit fetish is introduced, which, by the way, it comes back multiple times, by the way. I look up her Discord name on Limasoft, and I find one post with it. Her Limasoft name is not the same as her Discord, which is fine. But I find the post where she's asking for, like, help on this visual novel. And that is where I find out that this is a romance, horror, psychological thriller visual novel with taboo themes, or not for the faint of heart. And she has two links for the art style she's looking for. I click on one of them because it's to DeviantArt, and I trust DeviantArt, and it had a content warning, like blurring the image like Instagram will have, and I was like, I don't want my day ruined. I'm not gonna look at this. But I then find her itch.io page for this game, and it's mentioned there as well that this is a very strange game, and it's 18 plus. And I wish she had mentioned some of this. To be quite honest, if she had mentioned the vomit fetish or the incest, I think I would have turned the project down, especially because I'm not 100% guaranteed going to get paid. That's depressing. And so then on page 30, TK explains the maze / the game. I feel like it's inspired by Danganronpa, considering her avatar was Mikan from Danganronpa. On page 31, there's a JoJo reference. You can get a JoJo ending. It's with Giorno. It's really out of left field. This game has some weird comedy in it. By the way, this game is not well written. The plot's kind of meh. The story's meh. Listen, I've read better from less. I've read better. It's don't buy this game. Even though I want money, don't buy this game. On page 43, he has to kill Umineko and rifle through her corpse to find the pages to the diary that, admitted that this was an incestuous relationship, but haha, it's not in her corpse, it's under the chair. That's disgusting. By the way, it was very graphic in describing the rifling through the corpse. That's gross. And so on page 44, the page that they find describes how TK put MA's hand in a blender. She vomited because, the pain, and then MA is forced to lick up that vomit. That's disgusting. On page 52, the room is full of chocolate, and in one of the chocolates, the page is in there somewhere, and so the main character has to eat them because MA can't, and then there's something in the chocolate, I guess, that makes the main character throw up. and he vomits a couple times. Again, graphic detail. She's licking up the vomit. It's all very disgusting. And he finds that page, and it's all gross, and I wish I didn't have to think about it. And then on page 59, there's an eyeball removal, which, let me just tell you, eye removal, tongue removal, teeth removal, skin removal, and then fingernail removal are all things that make me cringe and I hate and I don't like it. And if I had known that was in the game as well, I probably, again, would have denied it unless I was guaranteed pay. Because, again, I'm not guaranteed pay unless this game produces money, which it likely will not. And that's all very disgusting. And then on page 65, now let me just tell y'all, you can make fantasy games. You can make games that don't have to abide by realism. But there's this game so far has not really broken those realism rules. And so on page 65, because TK likes the main character to be in pain and all that jazz, he asks the main character to fill this jar or whatever with a half-gallon of his own blood. And let me tell you, the human body, a full adult grown human body that has not had its finger chopped off or its eye removed, has 1.2 to 1.5 gallons of blood in the body. And by the way, I looked that up while I was editing, and I was thinking about being like, hey, maybe not this, but I wasn't hired to edit the story. I was hired to proofread the grammar and the spelling, so that's pretty much all I did. Very disgusting, by the way. And then the game ends, and then I'm just left here in shock and awe on what I had just read. So I sent her over the script, or the edited version of the script, last night at like 7:30, 7:59, I'm not entirely sure. And then I went over the script while I was, making my little notes and stuff, and I found some more errors that I fixed, and this morning I sent her the fixed version, the better version. She's like, cool. And so what are my final thoughts on this? Well, she's not very good at giving trigger warnings, because had I been like someone else who had triggers for like blood and stuff, if I had gotten like severely triggered to where I was hyperventilating, then I would have right then and there, wherever I had stopped, been like, hey, I can't do this. Other people do have those kind of triggers though, and I kind of wish she had like given a little bit of warning. I guess because of how my thing was written, that I would do horror, thriller, hentai, eroge, which all of this game hits all of that. She assumed it was fine, yeah, I guess, I don't know. Do I think anyone's going to buy this game? Not likely, considering her itch.io had a 1-star review and then only one comment saying like, the demo was good. I don't know. This game was very weird, and it was poorly written, but I even think if it was well written, it wouldn't appeal to a wide audience. I know there are torture off-brand anime stuff out there that people like. I've seen screenshots of it. It's very strange and weird and not something I'm into. But that game is but those games are for very niche people, very small groups of people. And this game, because it costs money, is only going to appeal to those people. And let me tell you, there is a market out there, and people might actually buy it if they're into that market, because let me tell you, if you're into something as niche as this, you take what you can get, whether it's poorly written or well written. And I know that because as someone who ships, Russia x Prussia, not a lot of people are into that. So I am kind of forced to read the same handful of fan fictions over and over again, whether they be poorly written or well written. And so that's it for this video. I do have paid ways if you want my commission, if you want my writing. I do have a Fiverr. You can commission fan fiction, or you can commission poetry. I think my prices are reasonable. I think the lowest one is $10 and the max one is maybe $30. But that's I have like ranges. You can like pick from a range of like prices and what you get for said price. But yeah, if you want to support me financially and you want to get something out of it, go to my Fiverr. You can buy things from me, and I'd be happy to do commissions for you guys, because 1, I like you guys, 2, I think my writing's pretty good, and I would like to get paid for it, so if you're in the market for a custom fanfiction or a custom poem, hit me up on Fiverr. Those links will be below. Anyways, really hated reading this. Really hope I get paid. Please, weird people, buy this game. Don't y'all buy this game, but weird people buy this game so I get paid for my time and effort in eye bleach. I don't have the resources to bleach my eyes. We're in a pandemic right now. Can't really be wasting my bleach on that stuff. But in any event, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more random fandom things. Ciao, chicos.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.